Welcome all. This is the Hades moon where I go into the underworld and share about Pluto's actions during this time. And so this is for the month of October as we move away from the chaos of the hidden chaos of the recent and sometimes overt open chaos of the recent September eclipses in the North and South node signs of Pisces and Virgo. And it seems that it was very harsh on a lot of people during this time. And so my heart stays put, but it definitely empathizes and speaks for those that have went through recent hardships. It's at these times that we need to trust our intuition. Eclipses happen every 6 months. And as a reminder, I want to say to all of you that your intuition always leads you correctly. And to remember that when people, and I say this from a client, when doctors or, say someone has to get a surgery or say, you have to go fly to some event, you have to do this, do that. We always have to take precautions because our own authority comes first. We don't give authority to a doctor or a boss or whatever it is over our own personal authority in our bodies that intuitively tells us what our truth is. Especially during eclipse times, is when you want to be wary of scheduling any major surgeries or big events, especially through the shadowlands between the eclipses this past September, September 7th to the 21st. I personally did not plan much. I had, business partners and clients who, wanted to get this done or I wanted to get that done. And I just observed and noticed that certain events didn't occur and I didn't force anything. And I was actually giving extra allowance to others to say, yeah, let's not do it this week. We can wait and do it another time. Because really the energy was boiling points everywhere, after the first total eclipse on September 7th, that Sunday, to the Sunday of September 21st, which, prior to I saw a lot of possessions. Like I had a lot of clients that came to me looking for health and support because, these eclipses, these are not special, nice, um, I don't know how to say it, like fluffy events. An eclipse is something that happens in and exposes the shame of the sun, which always is attempting to give us the life force energy by which we can process the evolutionary life through us. And its power is lost during this time. Think about that. The life force which animates us is lost in darkness when an eclipse occurs. Its very solar rays are tainted with the shame of something hidden, something dark. It is not time to do rituals. It's not time to do any magic. It's just the time to be and not be under its rays. Now, this is going to sound like some sort of, like I'm some sort of, I forget the word for it, but this is just the facts. To me, it boggles my mind how I endlessly need to repeat this to others that an eclipse is not a good thing. It's not something to be caught under the solar rays during. Especially the natives said not to leave food out during this time, which gets poisoned by the very air of this light that penetrates from the shamed sun. I'll go through it again and it'll be fine in 6 months until people really start to understand like this modern quote unquote civilized world understands very little in terms of the nature of the wisdom of the past. And it's time to integrate that wisdom back. And so that's just an analogy for Pluto and its actions because we're at a time when Pluto is out of bounds with revolutionary spirit for the collective, for us, for our say in relationship to this transforming, transmuting financial economic structure and what kind of structure we want. Now, presently, Pluto and the rest of the outer planets are all in retrograde, asleep at the wheel, not dead, but dreaming, resetting, recalibrating, reviewing. And so it's a interesting time here in October. There's no retrogrades yet, not till November. We've just completed a pair of eclipses. And so October is a time of balancing the scale. And I'll go over that more in my video for October. But what I'm just sharing here is the reminder that currently Pluto is in Aquarius and it's in gate 41, and now in retrograde it's back in gate, I think that's 60. But both are Aquarius gates. And so Pluto's dark powers will ravage the inner fire for your own personal dark night, confronting the hidden facets you might deny. So remember, we all confuse the people around us with past confrontations, and we try to meet others for the immediacy of their presence as well as our own, to communicate our needs and to hear their needs in return. But Pluto really only asks one thing, and that's for us to shed layers of faulty images of self-fakery, and it just wants us to be authentic. So in other words, it's time to communicate how you're feeling and what your needs are, and not in any formulaic way, but just in the immediacy of your presence, how you normally do, according to your moon sign and its filter connected to Mercury. So we're looking at where Pluto is, and this month, as of October 1st, which is coming up, Pluto will conjunct Aquarius. So that means the moon will be passing through Pluto, sharing moonlight on the black sun of the Plutonian and what is being repressed. And so, as usual with the Hades moon, Pluto conjuncting the transiting moon, whatever is hidden will be released. And so it'll be a time to speak up and speak out and share forth. And I'm going to release this today. So I think this is tomorrow. We're building towards, this might be tomorrow. Yeah, we're building towards the Pluto conjunct Aquarius moon. And then a week from that, next Wednesday, Pluto will square Taurus, the Taurus moon as it passes. And the Taurus moon is more slow to process emotions, while Aquarius moon tries to avoid emotions altogether. And in a week later than that, in opposition, is Pluto opposing the Leo moon. This is usually the most confrontational moon of the month, is when you have an opposition, someone gets in your way, you get in someone's way. And this is Aquarius versus Leo energy. So what's the solution? You find a middle ground, because the medicine is in each polar opposite. The medicine of Leo is found in Aquarius. In Aquarius, the medicine is found in Leo. And so building towards the new moon on the 21st of October, Pluto will be squaring the Scorpio moon right about that same time. And Scorpio moon is not the easiest moon, but it is the most penetrating moon to assess and reach truth. And then back again near the end of the month, near the supposed solar maximum at the end of this month on the 30th, we have Pluto going and conjuncting the Aquarius moon on October 28th again. And so just a reminder, Pluto is out of bounds during this time. And this is the time from September to November. And as of September, there's been many protests that have begun all over the world. And there's also been implementations of a new surveillance system, something that's not analog like humans are, something that's digital, something that's attempting to put us in a box and label it digital. We are not digital beings. And if you think you are, if you think conforming to a digital system, that you will still be able to retain your humanity, all I have to say is we'll see. Because it's important to retain the analog spirit, the natural way of being human, and not spending too much time on these screens, on these attempted replications of what is human essence. Why would we build something less than us? How does that make any sense? Are we children playing with toys that try to imitate us? Dolls? Is that what this digital world is? Like a world of like dolls? And are we just doing magic to put souls in them, our souls into them? This is a lesser creation. Why are we devoting our energy to create something lesser than us? It doesn't make sense. And yet Pluto itself is symbolic of destruction of things that are not authentic. What is not authentic here in this present reality? What is not authentic as being expressed through Aquarius, which is the symbol for the hermit, the lone hermit, the wise, eccentric hermit that sees beyond the collective. These are very disturbing times. Retain your practices of connecting with the earth, being with others, actually talking to others, and not just sending emails. We need to reset this practice of needing to email others instead of talk to them. These business practices that hopelessly are driving us towards a more mechanized and abstract expression of what it is to be transhuman and not human. And the North and South Node remain in Pisces and Virgo, the North Node in 22, Grace, and the 47 in Oppression. These will be changing fairly soon. I'll have to note that. But ultimately, the message with the North Node in Pisces is to trust your intuition. We won't be able to figure this out completely. We just have to trust that the veil over it must be there for now. But that is important to challenge any oppression of the human spirit. Be sure, feel free to take a picture for the month or add this to your calendar. October is a month of balancing the scales. Let's see how that goes. Thanks all very much for listening, and I'll see you in the video for October.